Maya Kaminski was destined to marry the heir to a powerful business dynasty in an arrangement that would unite two empires. But when she discovered the dark truth behind her fiancé's charming facade, she fled into the stormy night and straight into the secluded estate of the reclusive tech genius Ethan Drake. Now, as threats close in and unexpected feelings bloom, she must choose between the golden cage of her family's expectations or the risky path to authentic freedom. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Before we dive into the story, tell me where in the world you're watching from today. Maya Kaminski stood frozen before the ornate mirror in the bridal suite, surrounded by luxury that suddenly felt suffocating. The custom-designed wedding gown with its hand-sewn pearls and imported lace represented the culmination of 18 months of meticulous planning. By all conventional measures, she should have been the picture of bridal bliss. But her eyes told a different story. "You look absolutely breathtaking," her mother Sophia exclaimed as she entered the room, adjusting her own designer outfit. "Alexander won't be able to take his eyes off you." Maya forced her lips into what she hoped resembled a smile. "Thanks, Mom." Sophia approached, studying her daughter's pale reflection. "Is something wrong? You look ill." "Just wedding jitters," Maya lied, the words bitter on her tongue. The truth was far more complicated than pre-wedding nerves. For generations, the Kaminski family had built their international shipping empire through strategic marriages and alliances. Maya had grown up understanding her eventual role, to marry well and strengthen the family business. When her father had introduced her to Alexander Rothwell, heir to the Rothwell technology conglomerate, the path seemed clear. Initially, Alexander had been everything she could want: handsome, intelligent, ambitious. Their courtship had been a whirlwind of exotic vacations, charity galas, and intimate dinners. But over the past few months, as wedding plans solidified, she'd watched him transform into someone she barely recognized. "15 minutes, Miss Kaminski," the wedding coordinator called through the door. "I'll find my seat," Sophia said, squeezing Maya's hand. "This union will secure our family's future for generations. I'm so proud of you." As the door closed behind her mother, Maya felt her chest constrict. She rushed to the window, pushing it open to gulp the cool autumn air. Below, the sprawling gardens of the Rothwell estate were immaculately arranged with white roses and crystal decorations. 300 guests in designer attire mingled beneath elegant white tents. Perfect for someone else's life. Maya's phone chimed with a text message. "Alexander, remember what we discussed. Smile naturally for the photographers, and try not to fidget during the vows. First impressions with the board members matter." Something inside Maya finally shattered. Last night's conversation replayed in her mind, Alexander calmly informing her that once they were married, her involvement with her family's shipping business would end. "A Rothwell wife has certain standards to maintain," he'd explained while reviewing their prenuptial agreement. "Your job will be managing our social calendar and eventually producing heirs. Nothing more." When she'd protested, his charming mask had slipped momentarily, revealing a coldness that frightened her. "This arrangement was decided years ago, Maya. Your father understands business. Perhaps it's time you did too." This wasn't pre-wedding anxiety. This was her survival instinct screaming. Without conscious thought, Maya grabbed her small clutch containing her phone and credit cards. She gathered the voluminous skirt of her gown and moved toward the door, heart pounding against her ribs. Peering into the hallway, empty. Everyone was already seated in the garden, waiting for her grand entrance. Instead of turning right toward the ceremony, she turned left toward the service entrance she'd noticed during yesterday's rehearsal. Her silk heels clicked against the marble floor as she moved as quickly as the cumbersome dress allowed. Pushing through the service door, Maya emerged into the crisp October air behind the estate. She ran past luxury vehicles, past bewildered valets who stared in shocked silence, and onto the quiet, private road that wound through the exclusive neighborhood. "Miss? Miss?" One of the attendants called after her. "Are you all right?" She ignored him, focused only on putting distance between herself and the altar where Alexander waited. She had no destination, no plan, only the certainty that she could not marry into the life that had been arranged for her. After several blocks, her lungs burning and her feet blistering in the unforgiving heels, Maya slowed to a walk. The gravity of what she'd done began to sink in, Her family would be humiliated. The business alliance would collapse. Alexander would be furious. Her phone buzzed relentlessly. Her mother, her bridesmaids, undoubtedly Alexander. She turned it off, unable to face their reactions. Dark clouds gathered overhead, and Maya looked up just as the first heavy raindrops fell. Within moments, the gentle shower transformed into a downpour. Her carefully styled hair collapsed, mascara streaking down her cheeks as the pristine white gown became sodden and heavy. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you're enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Through the curtain of rain, Maya spotted an open iron gate leading to what appeared to be a private estate set back from the road. Without hesitation, she slipped through it, seeking shelter beneath the dense trees that lined a winding driveway. The property was vast, with meticulously maintained grounds surrounding a modern mansion built of steel, glass, and stone. Maya had never seen this place, despite growing up in this exclusive community. She made her way toward a glass-enclosed pavilion near a small pond, hoping to remain hidden while she gathered her thoughts. Shivering and dripping, Maya sank onto a bench inside the pavilion. Only then did she allow herself to cry, silent, shuddering sobs that released months of mounting dread. What had she done? Where would she go? Her entire world had been constructed around today's ceremony. This is private property. The deep voice startled her so severely she nearly fell from the bench. Standing at the pavilion entrance was a tall man with broad shoulders and an athletic build, dressed in casual dark jeans and a charcoal sweater. His face was striking rather than conventionally handsome. Strong jawline, intense gray eyes, and dark hair slightly damp from the rain. I'm sorry, Maya stammered, wiping futilely at her tears. It started pouring, and I just needed— You're wearing a wedding dress, he stated, his tone neutral as his eyes took in her bedraggled appearance. Maya looked down at her ruined gown, a hysterical laugh threatening to escape. I was supposed to get married today. And instead, you're trespassing on my property. There was something in his voice. Not anger, but curiosity. I'll leave right away, she said, standing quickly. As she moved to step past him, a wave of dizziness washed over her. The man caught her arm, his grip firm but not painful. When did you last eat? He asked, eyebrows drawing together. Maya tried to remember. Yesterday, maybe? I was too anxious this morning. The man sighed deeply, as if annoyed with himself for what he was about to offer. You can't go anywhere in this storm. Come to the house, dry off, have something to eat. Then you can call whoever you need to pick you up. I can't call anyone, Maya said, panic rising in her voice. They'll make me go back. I can't go back. The man studied her for a long moment while rain drummed against the glass pavilion roof. I'm Ethan Drake, he finally said. And you are? Maya Kaminski. Well, Maya Kaminski, you look like you're running from something serious. His eyes narrowed slightly. Are you in danger? She hesitated. Not the kind you're thinking. No one's hurting me, physically. It's just— I couldn't marry him. I realized he wasn't who I thought he was, or who I wanted. Ethan seemed to consider this, then nodded once. The house is this way. She followed him along a stone path, struggling to keep pace in her waterlogged dress and uncomfortable shoes. The mansion was even more impressive up close, a masterpiece of contemporary architecture, with clean lines and expansive windows that somehow managed to look both imposing and inviting. Wait here, Ethan said when they entered through a side door into what appeared to be a mudroom. He disappeared and returned moments later with a fluffy towel and a stack of clothes. Bathroom's through there, you can change. Thank you, Maya said, genuinely grateful. The bathroom was larger than her entire first apartment, with heated marble floors and a rainfall shower. She peeled off the wet wedding dress, wincing as she discovered raw blisters on her feet. The clothes Ethan had provided, soft sweatpants and a simple t-shirt, were clearly designed for a woman, but hung loosely on her frame. She toweled her hair as best she could and used tissues to wipe away the streaks of makeup beneath her eyes. When she emerged, Ethan was waiting in a spacious chef's kitchen with gleaming countertops and professional-grade appliances. A sandwich and a glass of water sat on the island counter. "Eat," he said simply. Maya didn't need to be told twice. She hadn't realized how hungry she was until the food was in front of her. Ethan watched her with an unreadable expression as she ate. "These aren't your clothes," she observed between bites. "They belong to my sister. She stays here sometimes." "Does she live nearby?" "No," he said curtly in a tone that discouraged further questions on that topic. When she finished eating, Ethan filled an electric kettle with water. "Tea?" "Yes, please." Maya wrapped her hands around the warm mug he handed her, taking comfort in the simple gesture. "Thank you for this." "For everything." Ethan leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "So what's your plan?" "I don't have one," she admitted, the reality of her situation sinking in deeper. "I just knew I couldn't marry Alexander. It was like suddenly seeing everything clearly. He doesn't love me. He loves the idea of me, the perfect corporate wife he can control and display." Ethan's expression remained neutral, but something flickered in his eyes. "And your family?" "My parents arranged this match. My father sees me as a business asset, not a daughter. The Rothwells control technology. We control shipping. Together—" She trailed off, shaking her head. "My mother is probably mortified right now." "Where will you go after this?" Maya bit her lip. "I have a friend, Julia, who might let me stay with her, but Alexander knows where she lives. I need a hotel, just for a few days until I figure things out." Ethan was quiet for a moment, seeming to have an internal debate. Finally, he said, "You can stay here." Maya's eyes widened. "What?" "No, I couldn't impose. This house has 5 bedrooms. You can use one of them until you sort out your situation." His tone was matter-of-fact, as if offering shelter to runaway brides was perfectly normal. "Unless you'd prefer a hotel." "I don't understand why you'd help me," Maya said, bewildered. "You don't even know me." Ethan's lips curved slightly. Not quite a smile. "Let's just say I recognize someone in need of sanctuary when I see them." Before Maya could respond, a phone rang. Ethan pulled his cell from his pocket, glanced at the screen, and frowned. "I need to take this. There's a guest room upstairs, first door on the right. Make yourself comfortable." He walked away, already answering with a curt, "Drake." Left alone in the kitchen, Maya tried to process what had just happened. This morning, she was preparing to marry into one of the country's most powerful families. Now she was wearing a stranger's clothes in a stranger's house, accepting his offer of shelter. The rational part of her brain warned that she knew nothing about Ethan Drake. He could be dangerous. Yet something in her gut told her she was safer here than she would be returning to Alexander and the life that had been planned for her without her input. Upstairs, the guest room was elegant but understated, with a queen-sized bed covered in crisp white linens and large windows overlooking the rain-drenched garden. Maya sat on the edge of the bed, exhaustion suddenly overwhelming her. The adrenaline that had carried her this far was dissipating, leaving her drained. Her soaked wedding dress lay in a heap on the bathroom floor. She should hang it up, try to salvage it. But part of her wanted to burn it, to erase all evidence of the day she'd almost made the biggest mistake of her life. She lay back on the bed, her eyelids heavy. Just a short rest, she told herself. Then she'd figure out what to do next. When Maya woke, the room was dark, except for the soft glow of a bedside lamp that hadn't been on before. She sat up, disoriented. According to the clock on the nightstand, it was past 8 p.m. She'd slept for hours. On the chair near the window, she spotted clothes that hadn't been there earlier. Jeans, a sweater, socks, and even a package of new underwear with the tags still attached. Next to them was a note in strong, angular handwriting. "These should fit. Kitchen is stocked if you're hungry. Help yourself." The simple kindness brought unexpected tears to her eyes. When was the last time someone had done something for her without an agenda? After washing her face and changing into the new clothes, which fit surprisingly well, Maya ventured downstairs. The house was quiet but warm, with soft lighting guiding her way. She found the kitchen again and made herself a simple sandwich. As she ate at the island counter, she heard footsteps approaching. Ethan appeared in the doorway, now dressed in dark slacks and a fitted button-down shirt that suggested he'd been at a business meeting. "You're up," he observed. "Thank you for the clothes." "And for letting me sleep." He nodded. "Your phone's been ringing." I put it on the charger in the living room. Maya had almost forgotten about her phone. "How many calls?" "At least 30 since I plugged it in. Someone named Alexander seems particularly persistent." Her stomach nodded. "I should probably check my messages." "Probably," Ethan agreed. He hesitated, then added, "But it can wait until morning if you're not ready." Maya felt a rush of gratitude for his understanding. "I'm not ready." Ethan moved to a cabinet, pulled out a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses. He poured a small amount in each and slid one toward her. "2 unexpected detours," he said, raising his glass slightly. Maya picked up her glass. "To kind strangers." They drank in silence, the whiskey warming her from within. "Why are you helping me?" she asked again. Most people would have called security when they found a stranger hiding on their property. Ethan took another sip before answering. "I know what it's like to need to disappear for a while." Something in his tone told her not to push for more details. Instead, she asked, "What do you do, Ethan? For work, I mean." "I founded a cybersecurity company. We develop privacy software for individuals and corporations." "Is that why you live behind gates with security cameras?" she asked, remembering the system she'd noticed. "Partly," he admitted. "I value my privacy. The business press calls me a recluse." "Are you a recluse?" A hint of a smile appeared. "I prefer selective about company." Maya couldn't help smiling back. "Well, thank you for selecting my company today. I don't know what I would have done if you'd turned me away." "You would have figured something out," Ethan said, his gray eyes studying her. "You're obviously resourceful." The unexpected vote of confidence surprised her. Alexander and her parents had always treated her as if she needed direction and guidance, incapable of making significant decisions. Ethan finished his whiskey and set down the glass. "Tomorrow we can discuss your next steps, unless you plan to hide in wedding dresses in strangers' pavilions indefinitely." His dry humor surprised a laugh from her. "Not my best plan, I admit." "Get some rest, Maya," Ethan said, his expression softening slightly. "Things often look clearer in the morning." As she watched him leave the kitchen, Maya wondered about the man who had given her shelter when she needed it most. There was kindness beneath his reserved exterior, but also sadness. She recognized it because she'd seen it in her own eyes too. Many times. For the first time since she'd fled her wedding, Maya felt a small measure of peace. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for tonight, she was safe in this unexpected sanctuary. And sometimes, that was enough. Morning sunlight filtered through the windows, waking Maya. For a moment, she was disoriented, expecting to see her apartment or perhaps the honeymoon suite where she should have spent last night. Then reality rushed back. She had fled her wedding and taken refuge in the home of a stranger named Ethan Drake. She sat up, staring at the ceiling. By now, everyone would know she'd left Alexander at the altar. Her parents would be devastated and furious. The business alliance would be in shambles. And Alexander would be livid. The thought of checking her phone filled her with dread, but she couldn't hide forever. Maya got up, washed her face, and headed downstairs. She found Ethan in the kitchen, dressed in running clothes, drinking coffee, and reading something on his tablet. "Good morning," she said hesitantly. Ethan looked up. "There's coffee, and I had some groceries delivered. Help yourself." "You've already done so much." "It's just food, Maya," he said, cutting off her thanks. "Your phone's in the living room. It rang until the battery died last night. I plugged it in again." She nodded, poured herself a cup of coffee, and steeled herself to face reality. In the living room, her phone showed 63 missed calls, over 100 text messages, and 42 voicemails. Most were from Alexander and her parents, but there were also messages from friends and even numbers she didn't recognize. With trembling hands, she listened to the first voicemail from her mother. "Maya, where are you? Please call me immediately. Everyone is worried sick. Alexander is devastated. Whatever cold feet you're having, we can work through this. Just come back." The next few messages followed the same pattern, concern mixed with pressure to return. Then came a message from Alexander. Maya, this is completely unacceptable behavior. Do you have any idea how humiliated I am? The press is having a field day. Get back here immediately, and we'll figure out how to fix this mess you've created. His tone was cold, controlling, the very reason she'd run in the first place. She deleted the message and moved to the next one, also from Alexander, now sounding angrier. If you think you can embarrass me like this and get away with it, you're mistaken. I've invested too much in this relationship to let you throw it away on some emotional whim. I have people looking for you. They will find you. A chill ran down Maya's spine. The threat in his voice was unmistakable. Bad news? Ethan's voice came from behind her. He was leaning against the doorway, watching her with those penetrating gray eyes. Alexander is having people look for me, she said, hating how her voice shook. He sounds different. Dangerous. Ethan stepped into the room. May I? He gestured to her phone. Maya handed it to him, and he listened to the last message, his expression hardening. He's trying to intimidate you, Ethan said, returning the phone. Men like that rely on fear to maintain control. You sound like you know the type. I've dealt with my share of bullies in the business world. He paused. What are you going to do? Maya ran a hand through her hair. I need to call my mother at least. She must be worried sick. But I'm not going back to Alexander. That much I know. Use my office for privacy, Ethan offered, pointing to a door across the hall. I have some work to take care of anyway. The office was as immaculate as the rest of the house, with a large desk facing floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the back gardens. Maya sat in a leather chair and dialed her mother's number, her heart pounding. Sophia answered on the first ring. Maya? Oh, thank God! Where are you? Are you all right? I'm fine, Mom. I'm safe. What were you thinking, running out like that? Do you have any idea what you've done? The Rothwells are furious. Alexander is beside himself. Mom, I couldn't marry him. He's not who I thought he was. What are you talking about? Alexander adores you. He's given you everything. No, Mom. Maya closed her eyes. He was trying to control me. He wanted me to give up my career, my independence. This isn't how someone treats a person they love. That's ridiculous. He's just looking out for you. Men like Alexander have expectations, Maya. Being his wife comes with responsibilities. Like giving up who I am? No, thank you. Her mother sighed heavily. Where are you staying? I'll come get you. I'm staying with a friend, Maya lied. I need some time to think. You can think at home. Alexander is willing to forgive you if you come back now. He even suggested postponing the wedding for a month to let things settle down. Mom, listen to me, Maya said firmly. I am not marrying Alexander. Not in a month. Not ever. I made a mistake getting engaged to him, and I'm fixing that mistake. You're throwing away the best thing that ever happened to you, her mother's voice rose. Your father is furious. This merger meant everything to the company. I'm not a corporate asset to be traded, Mom. I'm your daughter. You're being childish. Call me when you're ready to be sensible. The line went dead. Maya set the phone down, fighting back tears. She'd expected her mother to be upset, but the immediate defense of Alexander and the business arrangement hurt more than she'd anticipated. A soft knock at the door startled her. Ethan stood there holding 2 mugs. I thought you might need this, he said, offering her a fresh cup of coffee. Thank you. She took the mug gratefully. Sorry for using your office so long. It sounded like a difficult conversation. He leaned against the desk. Family rarely understands when we step off the expected path. My mother thinks I'm throwing my life away. Maya sipped the coffee. Maybe a part of me believed that marrying Alexander was my only option too. He pursued me so intensely, made me feel special, until I didn't feel special anymore. I felt owned. Ethan nodded. It's a common tactic. Overwhelm with attention, then slowly isolate and control. You sound like you've seen it before. My sister, Ethan said quietly. She married a man like your Alexander. It took her 3 years and a fractured wrist to leave him. Maya's eyes widened. I'm so sorry. She's in Switzerland now, rebuilding her life. Ethan's expression softened slightly. Those aren't her clothes you're wearing, by the way. I had my assistant pick them up. Oh, Maya looked down at the jeans and sweater. They fit perfectly. Layla is good at her job. Ethan set his mug down. Speaking of jobs, I need to attend to some business matters. Make yourself at home. There's a library down the hall if you get bored. After he left, Maya wandered through the house, curious about the man who had taken her in. The place was beautifully designed, but felt more like a showcase than a home. There were few personal touches, no family photos, no mementos. In the library, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves held an impressive collection, everything meticulously organized. She pulled out a well-worn copy of Pride and Prejudice and settled into a comfortable armchair. The familiar story provided a welcome escape from her own drama. Hours later, Ethan found her there, still reading. You like the classics? He observed. Maya looked up. My grandmother used to read them to me when I was little. She said great literature teaches us who we really are. Your grandmother sounds wise. She was. She closed the book. She died when I was in college. Cancer. I'm sorry. What about your parents? Maya asked. Do they live nearby? A shadow crossed Ethan's face. They died when I was 25. Plane crash. I'm sorry, Ethan. Is that why you live alone in this big house? I prefer the solitude. It's simpler. Simpler maybe, but lonely. Being alone and being lonely aren't the same thing, Ethan said, but something in his tone suggested he wasn't entirely convinced of his own words. Before Maya could respond, her phone rang. She checked the screen, and her face paled. It's Alexander. You don't have to answer. If I don't, he'll just keep calling. She took a deep breath and answered. Hello? Where the hell are you? Alexander's voice was cold with fury. I'm safe. That's all you need to know. That's not how this works, Maya. I've spent months planning this wedding, introducing you to the right people, investing in your future with me. You don't get to just walk away. Actually, that's exactly what I get to do, she replied, finding courage she didn't know she had. I don't want to marry you, Alexander. Is there someone else? Is that it? This is about us. About how you treat me. He laughed, a harsh sound. How I treat you? I've given you everything. Designer clothes, jewelry, introduced you to people you never could have met on your own. I was going to give you a life most women only dream about. You were going to give me a cage, Maya said firmly. I don't want your things, Alexander. I just want my freedom. This isn't over, Maya. I will find you. The threat in his voice was unmistakable. No one makes a fool of me. The call ended, and Maya put the phone down with shaking hands. He's not taking this well, Ethan observed dryly. No, she looked up at him. I'm sorry to bring this trouble to your doorstep. Maybe I should go somewhere else. Alexander has resources. If he finds out I'm here, he might cause problems for you. Ethan's expression hardened. Let him try. I've dealt with worse than spoiled, entitled businessmen used to getting their way. You don't understand. Alexander's family has connections. His uncle is a senator. They donate to the police foundation. And my company provides cybersecurity for half the government agencies in this state, Ethan replied calmly. Trust me, Maya. I can handle Alexander Rothwell. The confidence in his voice was reassuring. For the first time since running from her wedding, Maya felt truly safe. Now, Ethan continued, I've arranged for a new phone for you. Your current one is probably how he'll try to track you. We'll get you set up with a temporary number until this blows over. You've thought of everything, Maya said, surprised by his thoroughness. It's what I do. Identify vulnerabilities, secure them. He walked to the window. Your ex-fiancé will eventually move on when he realizes you're serious about ending things. I hope you're right, Maya joined him at the window, looking out at the garden where she'd hidden just yesterday. It feels like a lifetime ago that I was standing in that wedding dress. Do you regret it, running? No, she said without hesitation. It was the most honest thing I've done in months. Ethan turned to face her, and for the first time she saw a genuine smile transform his serious face. Good for you. That smile did something strange to Maya's heart. For a fleeting moment she glimpsed the man beneath the carefully constructed walls, and she liked what she saw. The moment was interrupted by the doorbell. Ethan's smile vanished, replaced by a wary expression. Stay here, he instructed. I'm not expecting anyone. From the library window, Maya watched as Ethan answered the front door. She couldn't see who was there, but Ethan's posture was tense. The conversation was brief, and soon he was closing the door and returning to the library. What was it? She asked nervously. A courier with an invitation to some industry awards ceremony next weekend. Ethan tossed the envelope onto a side table. Nothing important. Relief washed over her. For a moment she thought Alexander had found her. Even if he did, Ethan said, as if reading her thoughts, I wouldn't let him near you. The protectiveness in his voice surprised her. Why do you care what happens to me? We just met. Ethan was quiet for a moment. I told you about my sister. What I didn't tell you is that I knew what was happening for months before she finally left him. I saw the signs but didn't intervene. I thought it wasn't my place. His jaw tightened. I won't make that mistake again. You can't save everyone, Ethan. I'm not trying to save everyone. Just you. The intensity in his gray eyes made her breath catch. For now, at least. Over the next few days, Maya settled into a routine at Ethan's house. He gave her a new phone with a different number and helped her set up a secure email account. During the days, Ethan worked either in his home office or at his company headquarters downtown, while Maya spent time reading in the library or walking in the gardens. In the evenings, they would have dinner together, usually ordered in since neither of them were skilled cooks. Their conversations gradually became more relaxed, less guarded. Maya learned that Ethan had built his cybersecurity company from scratch after college, turning an early algorithm into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. He discovered that she had always wanted to create a foundation for arts education in underserved communities, a dream she'd set aside when she started dating Alexander. Why did you? Ethan asked one evening as they sat on the terrace with glasses of wine. Set aside your dream, I mean. Maya sighed. Alexander made it sound impossible. Too idealistic. Too much work for too little reward. He said I could join existing charity boards instead if I really wanted to play philanthropist. She made air quotes around the phrase. Ethan's expression darkened. He sounds like an ass. The blunt assessment made Maya laugh. He is. I just didn't see it clearly until recently. What will you do now? I don't know. I loved my work at the Kaminski Foundation before Alexander convinced me to take a leave of absence for wedding planning. He said his fiancé shouldn't be working such long hours for family money. So that's your first step, Ethan said matter-of-factly. Reclaim your position. It's not that simple. My father is the chairman. After what I did, he might not welcome me back. Then start your own foundation. You clearly have the passion and knowledge. His confidence in her was both flattering and intimidating. I can't just start a foundation. I don't have the resources or experience. Ethan set down his wine glass. What would you need to make it happen? Funding, legal structure, a board, programming experts. See? You already know the components. It's just a question of assembling them. Looking into his eyes, Maya felt something shift between them. There was genuine belief there, and something else. A connection she hadn't felt with anyone in a long time. Thank you, she said softly. For everything. Ethan held her gaze for a moment longer than necessary, then looked away. It's getting late. I have an early meeting tomorrow. As they cleared the dishes together, their hands brushed, sending an unexpected jolt through Maya. She stepped back quickly, unsettled by her reaction. "Good night, Ethan," she said, heading for the stairs. "Maya," he called after her. When she turned, he seemed to be struggling with what to say. Finally, he simply offered, "Sleep well." In her room, Maya sat on the edge of the bed, confused by the feelings stirring inside her. It was too soon after Alexander to be thinking about another man. Besides, Ethan had only offered her shelter out of kindness or perhaps obligation due to his sister's experience. She shouldn't misinterpret that. Yet as she drifted off to sleep, it was Ethan's rare smile that filled her thoughts. The next morning, Maya woke to an empty house. Ethan had left early for his meeting, leaving a note on the kitchen counter. "Help yourself to anything. Back by dinner. E." After breakfast, Maya decided to check her old email, curious if anyone from the foundation had reached out. Among the flood of messages from concerned friends was an email from her best friend Julia. "I'm worried sick about you. Please tell me you're okay. Alexander has been telling everyone you had some kind of breakdown. He even came by my place looking for you. Call me when you can." Maya immediately dialed Julia's number on her new phone. "Hello?" Julia answered cautiously. "Jules, it's me, Maya. I'm using a new number." "Maya? Oh my God, where have you been? I've been so worried." "I'm safe. I'm staying with a friend." "A friend? Who? I thought I was your best friend." "It's complicated. I just needed to get away from Alexander." Julia's voice lowered. "He's been acting scary, Maya. Going around questioning all your friends, making weird threats. He implied he could get my boyfriend fired if I was hiding you." Fear clenched Maya's stomach. "I'm so sorry he dragged you into this." "What happened? One minute you were getting married. The next you're gone." I realized I couldn't go through with it. Alexander isn't who I thought he was. He's controlling. Manipulative." "I tried to tell you," Julia said gently. "Remember when he surprised you by canceling your application to that arts management program? I said then it seemed more about controlling you than supporting you." "You were right. I just couldn't see it." "So what now? Are you coming back?" "Not yet. I need time to figure things out. But I'll stay in touch, I promise." After they hung up, Maya felt restless. She couldn't hide in Ethan's house forever. Sooner or later, she would have to rebuild her life. On impulse, she opened her laptop and began researching what it would take to start an arts education foundation. Ethan was right. It was a series of problems to be solved, not an impossible dream. By the time she heard his car in the driveway that evening, she had pages of notes and a renewed sense of purpose. Ethan entered the kitchen looking tired but smiled when he saw her. "You look busy." "I've been researching starting a foundation," Maya admitted. "You inspired me." His smile widened. "Good. What have you learned?" As they prepared dinner together, a simple pasta dish that was the extent of Ethan's cooking skills, Maya shared her findings with enthusiasm. Ethan listened attentively, asking thoughtful questions and offering practical suggestions. "The biggest hurdle is startup funding," Maya concluded. "I have some savings, but nowhere near enough." Ethan hesitated before saying, "I could help with that." "No," Maya said firmly. "You've done enough already. I can't take your money too. It wouldn't be charity, it would be an investment." He served the pasta onto plates. "Think about it." Before Maya could respond, the doorbell rang, followed by insistent knocking. Ethan frowned. "Stay here," he instructed, moving toward the front door. Maya's heart raced as she heard voices in the hallway. Ethan's deep tone, and then another voice that made her blood run cold. "Alexander." Maya froze, unsure whether to hide or confront Alexander. The decision was made for her when both men appeared in the kitchen doorway. Alexander's handsome face was tight with barely controlled rage. "So this is where you've been hiding," he said, his eyes raking over her before turning accusingly to Ethan. "With him." Ethan's expression was dangerously calm. "Mr. Rothwell, as I explained, Maya is here as my guest. She doesn't wish to speak with you." "I don't care what you think she wishes," Alexander snapped. "Maya, get your things. We're leaving." Maya found her voice. "No, Alexander. I'm not going anywhere with you." "This isn't a game, Maya. Do you have any idea what you've done? The embarrassment you've caused? My father had to call in favors just to keep this out of the national press." "I'm sorry for embarrassing you," Maya said, "but I'm not sorry for leaving. We shouldn't be together." Alexander laughed coldly. "And what? You think you belong with him?" He gestured dismissively at Ethan. "You've known this man for what, a week? I've invested 2 years in you, Maya. 2 years of molding you, introducing you to the right people, teaching you how to behave in my world." "That's exactly the problem," Maya replied, anger rising. "You are trying to mold me into someone I'm not. I don't want to be in your world if it means losing myself." Alexander stepped toward her, but Ethan moved between them. "I think you should leave," Ethan said, his voice deadly quiet. "This doesn't concern you, Drake. You're in my house, threatening a woman under my protection. It very much concerns me." The two men stared at each other, tension crackling between them. Finally, Alexander took a step back. "This isn't over," he said to Maya. "You signed a prenuptial agreement. The engagement ring alone is worth $70,000. I could sue you for breach of promise. Take the ring. Take everything you ever gave me. I don't want any of it." "It's not about the things, Maya. It's about the principle. No one leaves Alexander Rothwell. No one." He turned to Ethan. "And you. You think I don't know who you are? The tech genius with the troubled past. I have friends in high places. I can make things very difficult for your company." Ethan's smile was chilling. "I welcome you to try, Mr. Rothwell. Now get out of my house before I have security remove you." For a moment, Alexander looked like he might lunge at Ethan. Instead, he straightened his expensive jacket and gave Maya one last cold look. "You'll regret this," he promised before storming out. When the front door slammed, Maya let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Ethan turned to her, concern evident in his eyes. "Are you all right?" She nodded, though she was shaking. "How did he find me?" "That's something we need to figure out." Ethan pulled out his phone. "I'm having my security team do a sweep of the house and grounds. If he planted something or someone tracked you here, we'll find it." As the reality of Alexander's threats sank in, Maya felt tears welling up. "I'm so sorry, Ethan. I've brought nothing but trouble to your door." To her surprise, Ethan reached out and took her hand. His touch was warm, reassuring. "Maya, look at me," he said gently. When she met his eyes, he continued. "Alexander Rothwell is a bully who's used to getting his way. Men like him make threats because they've learned it works. But I promise you, he can't hurt me, and as long as you're here, he can't hurt you either." The conviction in his voice made her believe him. Ethan Drake might be a mystery in many ways, but one thing was becoming clear. Beneath his reserved exterior was a man of remarkable strength and surprising tenderness. And despite the chaos swirling around them, she found herself drawn to that strength, wanting to know more about the man who had become her unexpected refuge. The morning after Alexander's unexpected visit, Ethan's security team arrived early. They were thorough and professional, sweeping the entire property for surveillance devices. By noon, they had their answer. "We found a tracker on the wedding dress," the lead security expert told Maya. "It was sewn into the hem. Very small, easy to miss unless you're looking for it." Maya felt sick. "The dress, that means he was planning this even before the wedding. He was tracking me all along." Ethan dismissed the security team with instructions to finish checking the grounds, then turned to Maya. "Alexander is more dangerous than I thought. He was monitoring your movements even when you were together." "I feel violated," Maya whispered, wrapping her arms around herself. "What kind of man does that?" "The kind who sees people as possessions." Ethan's expression was grim. We've removed the tracker, but we need to assume he'll try other methods to keep tabs on you. I can't believe this is happening. 2 weeks ago, I was getting ready to marry him, and now... Maya sank onto the sofa. I never really knew him at all. Ethan sat beside her. People like Alexander show you what they want you to see until they believe they have you. And now that I've challenged him, he's showing his true colors. Maya ran her hands through her hair in frustration. What do I do now? I can't hide here forever. No, but you can be careful while you rebuild your life, Ethan said. Don't let him win by making you afraid. His words sparked something in Maya. Determination, maybe even defiance. You're right. I need to start taking steps forward. Ethan nodded, approval in his eyes. What's first on your list? Finding a job, she said firmly. I need income, independence. I might be able to help with that, Ethan offered. My company funds an educational initiative. They're looking for someone to coordinate their arts program. Maya's eyes widened. Are you offering me a job? I'm suggesting you apply for one, Ethan clarified. The initiative director makes the hiring decisions, not me, but your experience at your family's foundation would be relevant. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. Ethan stood up. Either way, you should get your resume updated. You can use my office. Over the next few days, Maya threw herself into preparation, updating her resume, researching the initiative, and practicing interview questions. Ethan gave her space to work but was available when she needed advice. In the evenings, they continued their dinners together, their conversations growing deeper, more personal. Tell me about your sister, Maya asked one night as they sat in the living room after dinner. Is she like you? Ethan's lips curved slightly. Olivia is my opposite in many ways. Outgoing, impulsive, wears her heart on her sleeve. But she's just as stubborn as I am. You miss her. Yes, he admitted, but she's happy in Switzerland. After what she went through with her ex-husband, she deserves peace. What happened? Maya asked gently. You mentioned she took 3 years to leave. Ethan was quiet for a moment, swirling the whiskey in his glass. James seemed perfect at first. Charming, successful, attentive. By the time they got married, he had already started isolating her from friends and family, but subtly. We didn't see each other as often, but I assumed they were just busy. Maya nodded. The pattern sounded painfully familiar. 2 years in, I noticed bruises on her wrist at a family dinner. She said she fell. I believed her because I wanted to. Ethan's voice hardened. It got worse. She made excuses not to see me. When we did meet, she was nervous, constantly checking her phone. Classic signs I should have recognized. It's not your fault, Ethan. I should have intervened sooner. His eyes met hers, filled with regret. The night she finally left him, he fractured her wrist because she was 15 minutes late, coming home from a grocery run. She called me from the emergency room. Maya reached out impulsively and took his hand. But she got out. You helped her. Ethan's fingers tightened around hers. I bought her a one-way ticket to Switzerland the next day and made sure James understood there would be consequences if he tried to follow her. What kind of consequences? Maya asked, curious about what Ethan might have done. A dark smile crossed his face. Let's just say my company has access to a lot of sensitive information. James decided a fresh start without Olivia was his best option. Maya should have been alarmed by the implication, but instead, she felt a strange sense of security. Ethan protected the people he cared about fiercely, without apology. Thank you for telling me, she said, still holding his hand. And thank you for understanding why I had to run from Alexander. Ethan looked down at their joined hands, something unreadable in his expression. Slowly, reluctantly, he pulled away. It's getting late, he said, standing up. You have the interview tomorrow. You should get some rest. Maya felt a pang of disappointment at the broken connection. Right. Good night, Ethan. As she headed upstairs, she couldn't help wondering if she had imagined the moment of tension between them. The hint that Ethan might feel the same confusing attraction she was experiencing. The next morning, Ethan drove Maya to the initiative office for her interview. She wore a simple but elegant blue dress borrowed from Layla's latest shopping delivery. "You don't have to wait for me," she told Ethan as they pulled up to the building. "I can take a cab back." "I'll wait," he said simply. "Good luck, though you won't need it." His confidence bolstered her own. The interview went better than Maya had dared hope. The initiative director, Dr. Rebecca Chen, was a warm, intelligent woman who seemed genuinely impressed with Maya's passion for arts education. "Your experience is exactly what we're looking for," Dr. Chen said as the interview concluded. "And your vision for expanding access to quality arts programs aligns perfectly with our mission. Thank you. This opportunity means a lot to me." Dr. Chen smiled. "I should mention that Ethan speaks very highly of you. He rarely recommends candidates personally." Maya felt a flush of pleasure at the thought of Ethan praising her. "We've become friends recently." "Ethan Drake doesn't have many friends," Dr. Chen observed. "He must see something special in you." The comment stayed with Maya as she left the building to find Ethan waiting in his car as promised, his face brightening when he saw her. "How did it go?" he asked as she slid into the passenger seat. "Really well, I think. Dr. Chen is amazing." "She's the best at what she does," Ethan agreed. "Did she offer you the job?" "Not yet. She said they have a few more candidates to interview, but they'll decide by the end of the week." Maya turned to face him. "She mentioned that you recommended me." Ethan kept his eyes on the road. "I simply told her you were qualified." "Thank you. It means a lot." He nodded, seemingly uncomfortable with her gratitude. "Are you hungry? We could get lunch before heading back." They stopped at a small Italian restaurant tucked away on a side street. It was cozy and intimate, with checkered tablecloths and candles and wine bottles. "I haven't been here in years," Ethan said as they were seated. "It used to be my parents' favorite place." Maya realized he was sharing something precious with her, a connection to his past. "What were they like? Your parents?" Ethan's face softened with memory. "My father was brilliant, driven, but always made time for family. My mother was the heart of our home. Warm, intuitive, full of life. They were partners in every sense. When they died, it was like the light went out of the world." "That's why you live alone," Maya realized. "You lost your model for what relationships should be." Ethan looked startled by her insight. "I never thought of it that way, but perhaps you're right. After they died, I focused on building the business, taking care of Olivia. Relationships seemed like unnecessary complications. And now?" She met his eyes across the table. "Now I'm not so sure." The moment was charged with unspoken possibility. Maya felt her heart beating faster as Ethan reached across the table and lightly touched her hand. The spell was broken by the waiter arriving with their food. As they ate, the conversation shifted to lighter topics, but something had changed between them, an acknowledgement of feelings that could no longer be easily dismissed. After lunch, they drove back to Ethan's house in comfortable silence. As they pulled into the driveway, Ethan's phone rang. He checked the screen and frowned. "I need to take this." "It's the office." He answered with a curt, "Drake." Maya got out of the car, giving him privacy for the call. She was halfway to the front door when a sleek black car pulled up behind them. The driver's door opened, and Alexander stepped out. Fear and anger twisted inside her. "What are you doing here?" Alexander approached with a bland smile. "I came to talk sense into you." "This has gone on long enough, Maya." Ethan was out of his car in an instant, phone call forgotten. "You're trespassing, Rothwell." Alexander ignored him, focusing on Maya. "I've been patient. I've given you time to get over whatever crisis you're having. Now it's time to come home." "This is insane," Maya said. "I'm not coming back, Alexander." "I've told you that." "You're confused. Emotional." Alexander reached for her arm, but Ethan stepped between them. "Touch her, and it will be the last thing you do," Ethan warned, his voice deadly quiet. Alexander's face hardened. "I should have known you'd be sleeping with him." "Was he the reason all along? Did you have this planned before the wedding?" It's not like that, Maya protested. Ethan has been a friend when I needed one. A friend? Alexander laughed coldly. Do you really expect me to believe that? The man's reputation with women is legendary. Maya glanced at Ethan, confused. This was the first she'd heard of any reputation. Whatever you're implying, Rothwell, you're wrong, Ethan said evenly. Now leave before I call the police. Go ahead, Alexander smiled unpleasantly. My uncle plays golf with the police commissioner. Who do you think they'll believe? The respected businessman whose fiancé was stolen, or the notorious recluse with a history of conquest? Ethan took a step toward Alexander, his hands clenched into fists. Maya grabbed his arm. He's not worth it, she said quietly. Please, Ethan. The tension crackled between the two men. Finally, Alexander stepped back. This isn't over, Maya, he said. I've been more than patient, more than generous, but there are limits to my goodwill. Your goodwill? Maya laughed bitterly. You had me tracked like an animal. You threatened my friends. That's not goodwill, Alexander. That's control. You'll regret choosing him over me, Alexander said, his voice cold with fury. He looked at Ethan. And you? Enjoy her while it lasts. She'll bore you eventually, just like all the others. With that parting shot, he got back into his car and drove away, tires squealing on the pavement. Maya turned to Ethan, who was still watching the retreating car with murderous eyes. Is it true, what he said about your reputation? Ethan's jaw tightened. I've dated, yes. The press has exaggerated it into something it's not. Why didn't you tell me? Because it's not relevant to our situation. Ethan ran a hand through his hair in frustration. The tabloids love to portray me as some kind of playboy because I'm single and successful. It sells papers. Maya wasn't sure what to believe. Part of her wanted to trust Ethan implicitly, but Alexander's words had planted a seed of doubt. What if she was just another conquest to him? We should go inside, Ethan said, breaking into her thoughts. I don't trust Alexander not to come back with reinforcements. Once they were inside, Ethan paced the living room like a caged animal. I should have seen this coming. I underestimated how far he'd go. What did he mean about limits to his goodwill? Maya asked, sinking onto the sofa. It was a threat, Ethan said bluntly. Men like Alexander don't lose gracefully. I'm scared, Maya admitted. Not just for me, but for you too. He seemed serious about causing trouble for your company. Ethan stopped pacing and sat beside her. Don't worry about me or my company. I've dealt with worse threats than Alexander Rothwell. But I'm more concerned about you. He won't give up easily. What am I going to do? I can't stay hidden away forever. Ethan was quiet for a moment, thinking. You need to establish your independence. Get that job with the initiative. Find an apartment. Build a life he can't control. And in the meantime, you stay here, where it's safe. Ethan turned to face her fully. Maya, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Her heart skipped. Okay. Are you still in love with him? Any part of you? No, she said without hesitation. I'm not sure I ever was. I was in love with who I thought he was, not who he really is. Ethan nodded, seemingly satisfied with her answer. Then we'll get through this. Together. The word together hung between them, heavy with implication. Maya found herself studying Ethan's face, the strong jaw, the intelligent eyes, the rarely seen smile that transformed his serious demeanor. In just 2 weeks, this man had become more important to her than she wanted to admit. Ethan, what is this between us? She asked, needing clarity. Alexander assumes we're involved, but we haven't even... I know what we haven't done, Ethan said softly, and I know what I want to do. He reached out and touched her cheek, a gesture so tender it made her breath catch. Slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, he leaned forward and kissed her. It was gentle at first, almost hesitant, so different from Alexander's demanding kisses. Then Maya responded, and the kiss deepened, filled with a hunger that surprised them both. His arms went around her, pulling her closer, and she melted against him, feeling truly desired for perhaps the first time in her life. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ethan rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that since the day I found you hiding in my pavilion, he admitted. Maya smiled. Even soaking wet in a wedding dress? Especially then, he said with a rare grin. You looked like some wild, desperate creature who'd do anything to be free. It was captivating. His honesty touched her. With Alexander, everything had been calculated. Compliments designed to flatter. Affection timed for maximum effect. Ethan's raw admission felt real in a way nothing with Alexander ever had. I'm scared of this, she whispered. Whatever this is between us. It's happening so fast, and I just got out of one relationship that turned toxic. I know. Ethan's thumb traced her lower lip. We can take it as slow as you need, but I'm not Alexander, Maya. I don't want to own you or control you, I just want to be with you. Why me? You could have anyone. Ethan's expression turned serious. Because you're real. You ran from a life most women would kill for because you refused to compromise who you are. That kind of courage is rare. His words warmed her from within. She leaned in and kissed him again, savoring the feeling of being wanted for herself, not for who someone else wanted her to be. They spent the evening on the sofa, talking and kissing like teenagers discovering first love. Ethan told her stories of building his business, the failures along with the successes. Maya shared memories of her grandmother, the dreams she'd had before meeting Alexander, the person she wanted to become again. When she finally went up to bed, Ethan walked her to her door. Good night, Maya, he said, brushing a soft kiss against her lips. Good night, she replied, reluctant to let the evening end. Ethan, thank you for being patient with me. He smiled. Some things are worth waiting for. The next morning, Maya woke to the smell of coffee and found Ethan in the kitchen attempting to make pancakes. The domestic scene was so unexpected that she laughed out loud. What? He asked, looking up from the smoking pan. The great Ethan Drake, defeated by breakfast, she teased, coming to his rescue. Here, let me show you. She took over, salvaging what she could of the batter. As they ate, Ethan seemed almost shy, a stark contrast to his usual confidence. About last night, he began. Do you regret it? Maya asked, suddenly anxious. No, he said firmly. Not at all. I just want to make sure you don't. This situation is complicated, and the last thing I want is to take advantage. You're not, she assured him. Last night was… She blushed. It was exactly what I needed. Relief crossed his face. Good. Because I'd like to do it again. Often. They shared a smile full of promise. For the first time since running from her wedding, Maya felt hopeful about the future. That afternoon, while Ethan was on a conference call in his office, Maya decided to surprise him with dinner. She found a simple recipe online and made a grocery list. Since Ethan's house was outside the delivery range of most stores, she would need to go shopping herself. On impulse, she called Julia. Can you pick me up? I need to go grocery shopping, and I could use some friend time. Julia arrived 20 minutes later, full of questions and hugs. As they drove to the store, Maya filled her in on the basics, leaving out some of the more intimate details of her relationship with Ethan. So you're living with this rich, handsome guy who rescued you from Alexander, Julia summarized. Girl, that's some romance novel stuff right there. Maya laughed. It's not like that. Ethan's been a good friend. Just a friend? Julia raised an eyebrow. The way your face lights up when you say his name tells a different story. Maya blushed. Maybe more than friends. It's new, Jules, and complicated because of Alexander. Speaking of Alexander, Julia's voice dropped. He's been spreading some pretty nasty rumors about you and Ethan, saying you were having an affair for months, that you planned the whole wedding escape together. Maya felt sick. That's ridiculous. I only met Ethan the day I ran. I know that, but Alexander is convincing, and he's got his family's PR team working overtime. My parents are probably backing him up too. Your mother is, Julia confirmed. But your father has been surprisingly quiet. I heard he pulled out of that merger with Rothwell Technologies. That surprised Maya. Her father had been pushing for the merger, and by extension, her marriage to Alexander, for over a year. At the grocery store, Maya tried to push thoughts of Alexander aside and focus on dinner. She selected fresh ingredients, planning a simple but delicious meal. As they were checking out, Julia nudged her. Don't look now, but that woman by the magazine rack keeps staring at you. Maya glanced over to see a stylish woman in her 40s, pretending to browse magazines while watching them. When their eyes met, the woman quickly looked away. Probably one of Alexander's society friends, Maya whispered. Let's get out of here. They paid and hurried to the car. As Julia drove back toward Ethan's house, Maya kept checking the rearview mirror. I think we're being followed, she said, spotting a black sedan that had been behind them since they left the store. Julia accelerated slightly. What should we do? Don't go directly to Ethan's, Maya decided. Drive around a bit, see if they stay with us. The sedan maintained its distance but definitely followed their turns. After 15 minutes of random driving, Julia pulled into a busy shopping center. Let's lose them in the crowd, she suggested. They parked and quickly entered the mall, weaving through shoppers until they found a service exit on the opposite side. From there, they doubled back to the car through a different route and managed to leave without being followed. That was terrifying, Julia said as they finally approached Ethan's gate. Alexander is really stalking you. He won't let me go, Maya said quietly. He sees me as his property. At the gate, Maya entered the security code Ethan had given her. As they drove up to the house, she saw Ethan on the front steps, his expression a mixture of relief and anger. Where have you been? He demanded as soon as she got out of the car. You didn't leave a note. You didn't answer your phone. I'm sorry, Maya said, realizing she'd left her phone charging in her room. I wanted to surprise you with dinner. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, his agitation clear. I was worried something had happened to you. Julia watched the exchange with interest. So you must be Ethan, she said, extending her hand. I'm Julia, Maya's best friend. Ethan shook her hand, his manner cooling into polite reserve. Nice to meet you. Thank you for bringing Maya home safely. She's lucky to have found you, Julia said, giving Maya a meaningful look. I should get going. After Julia left, Ethan helped Maya bring the groceries inside. His earlier anger had faded, but he was still tense. You shouldn't have gone out without telling me, he said as they unpacked the bags. Not with Alexander on the warpath. I'm not a prisoner here, Ethan, Maya replied, a hint of defiance in her voice. I can't live in fear of Alexander forever. I know that, but we need to be careful until we know what he's planning. Ethan set down a tomato with more force than necessary. Someone followed you from the store, didn't they? Maya stared at him. How did you know? Because I had you followed too, he admitted. What? For your protection, Ethan explained quickly. My security team has been keeping an eye on you whenever you leave the property. They reported the black sedan tailing you but lost track when you went into the mall. That's... Maya struggled to find the right word. That's controlling, Ethan. Just like Alexander. Ethan's expression hardened. I'm nothing like Alexander. You're making decisions about my safety without my knowledge or consent. How is that different? Because I'm not doing it to control you. Ethan's voice rose in frustration. I'm doing it because I care about you, and Alexander is a genuine threat. Maya took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. Part of her understood Ethan's reasoning, but another part felt betrayed. You should have told me, she said firmly. Relationships need trust, Ethan. Honesty. Ethan was quiet for a moment, his expression unreadable. Then he nodded slowly. You're right. I should have told you. I'm sorry. His apology surprised her. Alexander had never apologized for anything. He would have justified his actions, turned it around to make her the unreasonable one. I'm not used to this, Ethan admitted, caring about someone the way I care about you. It makes me irrational sometimes. The vulnerability in his confession melted her anger. I care about you too. That's why I need you to be straight with me. No secrets, no decisions about my life without my input. Agreed. Ethan reached for her hand. No more secrets. As they prepared dinner together, the tension gradually eased. By the time they sat down to eat, they were laughing again, the argument behind them. Later that evening, as they sat close together on the sofa, Ethan's phone rang. His expression turned serious as he answered it. Yes? When? He listened intently. I see. Keep me updated. When he hung up, Maya knew something was wrong. What is it? That was my security team, Ethan said, his voice tight. Alexander has been busy today. He's filed a restraining order against me, claiming I've been threatening him, and he's spoken to the press. Tomorrow's society page will feature a story about how I stole his fiancé. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. This is my fault. No, Ethan said firmly, taking her hands in his. This is Alexander trying to control the narrative. But we can fight back. How? Ethan's eyes met hers, determination burning in their depths. By showing everyone, that what we have is real. Not some scandal, not some affair. Something worth fighting for. The intensity in his gaze made Maya's heart race. In that moment, she knew that whatever happened next, she wasn't facing it alone. Ethan Drake, with all his strength and all his flaws, was standing beside her, and for the first time since she'd run from her wedding, Maya felt truly strong enough to face whatever Alexander might throw at them next. The headline in the society section of the morning paper was just as bad as Ethan had warned. Tech tycoon steals shipping heiress. The article painted Maya as a gold digger who had traded up from Alexander to Ethan and portrayed Ethan as a predatory homewrecker who had pursued his business rival's fiancé. This is awful, Maya said, pushing the paper away. Everyone will believe we were sneaking around behind Alexander's back. Ethan, already dressed for work in a perfectly tailored suit, looked grim but determined. Alexander is trying to control the story. We can't let him. How do we fight this? It's his word against ours, and he has the press in his pocket. We tell our truth, Ethan said simply. Starting today. He explained his plan over breakfast. They would attend a charity gala that evening. The same one Ethan had received an invitation for days earlier. It was a major social event where most of the city's elite would be present, including Alexander and his family. You want us to walk into a room full of people who've just read this garbage about us? Maya asked, alarmed. Everyone will be staring and whispering. Exactly, Ethan nodded. And they'll see us together, dignified and honest, not hiding like we've done something wrong. I don't know if I'm brave enough for that, Maya admitted. Ethan reached across the table and took her hand. You ran from your wedding rather than marry a man who would control you. That took incredible courage. This is just another form of standing up for yourself. His faith in her was both touching and terrifying. What about the restraining order Alexander filed against you? My lawyers are handling it. It's baseless, a temporary order that won't hold up in court. Ethan squeezed her hand. But there's something else you should know. Dr. Chen called this morning. The initiative wants to offer you the job. Maya's eyes widened. Really? Even after the article? Rebecca Chen doesn't care about gossip. She cares about finding the right person for the job. Ethan smiled. And she thinks that's you. For the first time that morning, Maya felt a spark of hope. When do I start? Monday, if you accept. The salary is quite good, and it comes with an apartment in the initiative's residential building downtown. Maya blinked. An apartment? Many of their employees live there. It's secure, comfortable, close to work. The implication was clear. She would be moving out of Ethan's house. Maya felt a confusing mix of emotions. On one hand, having her own place represented the independence she'd been seeking. On the other hand, the thought of leaving Ethan made her heart ache. That's great, she said, trying to sound enthusiastic. Ethan studied her face. You don't have to decide about the apartment right away. The job is yours regardless. I should take it, shouldn't I? The apartment, I mean. It would show I'm not just moving from one man's house to another. Something flickered in Ethan's eyes. Disappointment, perhaps. It would give you independence. That's what you wanted. Maya nodded, though she wasn't sure anymore what she wanted. 3 weeks ago, her future had seemed mapped out. Marriage to Alexander, a life of social obligations and carefully managed appearances. Now everything was uncertain, and the only constant was the man sitting across from her. "About tonight," she said, changing the subject. "I don't have anything to wear to a gala." "Already taken care of," Ethan assured her. "Layla has arranged for a stylist to bring over some options this afternoon. Whatever you choose is yours to keep." "Ethan, you can't keep buying me things. I need to stand on my own." He looked genuinely puzzled. "Why can't I do both? Support you while you're building your independence?" The question caught her off guard. Alexander had always framed his gifts as creating obligation. "After everything I've given you," was a phrase he'd used often. Ethan's generosity felt different, with no strings attached. "I'm not used to help that doesn't come with conditions," she admitted. Ethan's expression softened. "Get used to it." Later that morning, Dr. Chen called to formally offer Maya the position. The conversation was warm and encouraging, with no mention of the newspaper article. "We're thrilled to have you join us," Dr. Chen said. "Your ideas about expanding access to quality arts education align perfectly with our mission." When Maya hung up, she felt a rush of excitement and pride. This was a real opportunity, something she'd earned on her own merits. She immediately called Julia to share the news. "I got the job," she exclaimed when her friend answered. "That's amazing! I knew you would." "But are you okay? I saw the article this morning." "I'm trying not to let it bother me. Ethan says we need to face it head on." "Is that why you're going to the Reed Foundation Gala tonight?" "It's all over social media that you two are attending." Maya was surprised. How do people know that already? "Someone leaked the guest list. Alexander is definitely going to be there too." Julia paused. "Are you sure this is a good idea? It could get ugly." "Probably not, but hiding makes us look guilty." Maya sighed. "I'm nervous, but Ethan will be with me." "You really care about him, don't you?" "Yes," Maya admitted, "more than I expected to. It's not just gratitude, Jules. He sees me, the real me, and he likes what he sees." "I'm happy for you," Julia said sincerely. "Just be careful tonight. Alexander won't make this easy." After they hung up, Maya spent the afternoon with the stylist Ethan had arranged. Among the selection of evening gowns, one immediately caught her eye, a simple but elegant emerald green dress that fit her perfectly. "This is the one," she told the stylist. When Ethan saw her in the dress that evening, his reaction was everything she'd hoped for. He stopped mid-sentence, his eyes widening with appreciation. "You look stunning," he said simply. "So do you," she replied, admiring how handsome he looked in his tuxedo. "We make a good team." "The best." He offered his arm. "Ready to face the lions?" Maya took a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be." The Reed Foundation Gala was held at the city's most prestigious hotel. As Ethan's car pulled up to the entrance, Maya could see photographers lined up along the red carpet. "They're not usually here for charity events," Ethan observed grimly. "Alexander must have tipped them off." "Should we go in another way?" Ethan shook his head. "No hiding, remember? We have nothing to be ashamed of." When they stepped out of the car, the photographers surged forward, flashbulbs going off in rapid succession. Questions were shouted at them from all directions. "Maya, why did you leave Alexander at the altar?" "Ethan, how long were you seeing Maya before the wedding? Is it true Alexander has filed charges against you?" Ethan placed a protective hand on Maya's lower back, guiding her through the gauntlet with calm dignity. He neither responded to the questions nor hurried their pace, projecting an air of confidence that Maya tried to emulate. Inside, the grand ballroom was already filled with the city's elite in formal attire. Conversations paused as they entered, and Maya felt hundreds of eyes turn in their direction. The whispering started immediately. "Ignore it," Ethan murmured. "Head high." Dr. Chen approached them first, a welcome, friendly face in the sea of judgment. "Ethan, Maya, I'm so glad you could make it." She kissed Maya's cheek. "And congratulations again on joining our team." Her public show of support sent a clear message to the room. Soon other colleagues of Ethan's came to greet them, some bringing their spouses to introduce. Not everyone was welcoming. Maya noticed several people deliberately turning away or watching with open disapproval. but enough were civil that she began to relax slightly, until she saw Alexander. He was across the room, surrounded by his usual entourage, including Maya's mother. When he spotted them, his false smile froze in place. He leaned down to whisper something to Sophia, who turned to stare at her daughter with a mixture of anger and hurt. "My mother's here," Maya said quietly to Ethan. "With Alexander." Ethan followed her gaze. "Do you want to speak with her?" Maya hesitated. "I should at least try." They made their way around the perimeter of the room, stopping to chat briefly with various guests. By the time they approached Sophia, Alexander had conveniently disappeared. "Mom," Maya said cautiously, "I didn't expect to see you here." Sophia's expression was cool. "Alexander thought I should come show support for the family during this difficult time." "The family?" Maya repeated. "Mom, I'm your family. And you abandoned your family obligations without a thought for anyone but yourself." Sophia's gaze shifted to Ethan. For him. Ethan stepped forward. "Mrs. Kaminski, I understand you're upset, but the situation isn't what you think." "I know exactly what it is," Sophia snapped. "My daughter threw away a perfect match for a man with a notorious reputation." "Alexander told me all about you, Mr. Drake." "I'm sure he did," Ethan replied evenly. "But did he tell you he was tracking Maya's movements? Or that he's been threatening her since she left?" Sophia looked startled. "That's ridiculous. Alexander adores Maya." "No, Mom," Maya said firmly. "Alexander wants to control me. There's a difference." "You've known this man for what? 3 weeks?" Sophia gestured dismissively at Ethan. "And suddenly you're an expert on relationships?" "Alexander was willing to give you everything." "Except the freedom to be myself," Maya replied. "I know this is hard for you to understand, but I wasn't happy with Alexander. I would have been miserable as his wife." Sophia's expression hardened. "You've made your choice. I hope you don't regret it when he moves on to his next conquest." With that, she walked away. Maya blinked back tears. "That went well." Ethan's arm slid around her waist, steadying her. "Give her time. She's been influenced by Alexander's version of events." "What if she never comes around?" "Then it's her loss," Ethan said simply. "You deserve people in your life who support your happiness, not just their idea of what your life should be." His words warmed her from within. Despite the stares and whispers surrounding them, Maya felt stronger with Ethan beside her. They made their way to their assigned table, where they were joined by Dr. Chen and several initiative board members, all of whom treated Maya with respect. Halfway through dinner, Alexander approached their table. He was smiling, but his eyes were cold. "Maya, Ethan, how nice to see you both." His voice carried just enough to attract attention from nearby tables. "I'm surprised you had the courage to show your faces here tonight." Ethan stood, placing himself slightly in front of Maya. "We have nothing to hide, Rothwell." "No? Then perhaps Maya won't mind explaining to everyone how long your affair was going on before she left me at the altar." Alexander looked around at the now silent tables nearby. "The society pages have it at 3 months. Is that accurate?" Maya stood up, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "There was no affair, Alexander. I met Ethan the day I left our wedding. I ran because I finally realized what kind of man you really are." "And what kind of man is that?" "The kind who puts tracking devices in his fiancé's clothes," Maya said clearly. "The kind who threatens her friends when she leaves him. The kind who uses his influence to spread lies when he doesn't get his way." A murmur spread through the nearby tables. Alexander's face flushed with anger. "You ungrateful little," he began, stepping toward her. Ethan moved quickly, blocking his path. "That's enough, Rothwell. Walk away while you still can." For a tense moment, it seemed Alexander might physically lash out. Then a photographer approached, camera ready, and Alexander's public mask slipped back into place. "This isn't over," he said quietly before turning to leave. As he walked away, Maya noticed several people watching the exchange with newly thoughtful expressions. Her public accusation about the tracking devices had clearly made an impression. "You were magnificent," Ethan murmured when they sat back down. "I was terrified," she admitted. but it felt good to tell the truth. The rest of the evening passed without further confrontation. By the time they left, Maya had received several supportive comments from women who had witnessed her stand against Alexander, including the wife of the mayor, who whispered, "Good for you, dear. That man always gave me the creeps." In the car heading home, Maya finally relaxed against Ethan's shoulder. "We survived." "More than survived," Ethan corrected. "You changed some minds tonight. People aren't stupid. They can recognize truth when they hear it." "Do you think Alexander will back off now?" Ethan's expression grew serious. "Not yet. Men like Alexander don't give up easily, but we've shown him we won't be intimidated." Back at Ethan's house, they settled in the living room with glasses of wine, both needing to unwind after the emotional evening. "I should call the initiative tomorrow," Maya said, kicking off her heels. "Accept the job offer." "And the apartment?" Ethan was quiet for a moment. "Is that what you want? It makes sense, doesn't it? I can't stay here forever." "Why not?" The question was simple but loaded with meaning. Maya looked at him, her heart beating faster. "What are you saying, Ethan?" "I'm saying I don't want you to go." He set down his wine glass and moved closer to her on the sofa. "These past weeks with you have been— I can't remember the last time I felt this alive, this connected to someone." "I feel it too," she admitted. "I'm not asking for marriage or even living together permanently if you're not ready," he continued. "I just want you to know that whatever you need— time, space, support— I'm here. For as long as you want me." Maya's mind flashed back to Alexander, to his demands and expectations, his need to control her life. The contrast with the man before her, offering love without conditions, supporting her choices even when they might lead her away from him, couldn't have been clearer. "What I need," she said softly, stepping into his arms, "is you. Just you, Ethan. The man who gave me refuge when I was at my lowest. The man who believed in me when I barely believed in myself." He held her close, his heartbeat strong and steady against her cheek. "I'll never try to cage you, Maya. I promise you that." "I know," she whispered. "That's why I'm not afraid to love you." They stood together in the quiet living room, where their story had begun to unfold. 2 months ago, Maya had been a desperate bride, fleeing from a cage disguised as privilege. Now she stood in the arms of a man who showed her that true love wasn't about possession, but freedom. The freedom to be herself, to grow, to dream. In running from a wedding, she had found something far more precious. A love that didn't confine, but liberated. A heart that offered not a gilded cage, but a true sanctuary. And in that sanctuary, Maya Kaminski had found not only safety, but herself. 6 months later, the Reed Foundation held its annual fundraising gala. This time, Maya attended not as Ethan's controversial date, but as the foundation's successful arts program director, with Ethan proudly at her side. Alexander was notably absent from the event. His family's influence had waned following several business setbacks, and rumors suggested he had taken an extended trip abroad, a phrase everyone understood as face-saving exile until the scandal blew over. Maya's father attended as her guest, their relationship slowly healing after he had finally admitted that the merger with Rothwell Technologies had been a mistake, and with it, the pressure he had put on his daughter to marry Alexander. Sophia had not yet come around, but Maya had hoped that time would soften her mother's stance. As the evening wound down, Ethan led Maya out to the hotel's rooftop garden, away from the crowd. "I have something for you," he said, pulling a small box from his pocket. Maya's heart raced. "Ethan, it's not what you think," he assured her quickly. "Or maybe it is, but not in the way you might expect." He opened the box to reveal not an engagement ring, but a simple gold key. "What's this?" she asked, taking it from the velvet cushion. "A key to your own place," Ethan explained. "I bought the building next to the foundation. It's being renovated into an arts center, with an apartment upstairs for the director." Maya stared at him in shock. "You bought a building for me." "For the foundation," he corrected with a smile. "But yes, the apartment is for you. If you want it, a place that's truly yours, independent of me or anyone else." "Ethan, I don't understand. We've been living together for months. Why would you want me to move out?" "I don't want you to move out," he said earnestly. "I want you to have choices. I want you to stay with me because you want to, not because you have no alternative. The thoughtfulness of the gesture brought tears to her eyes. Even now, after all they'd shared, Ethan was still prioritizing her independence. "And there's this too," he added, pulling a second, smaller box from his pocket. This one did contain a ring, a simple but elegant diamond. "Not for now," he said. "For whenever you're ready, whether that's next month or next year or never." Maya looked from the key to the ring, then up at the man who had changed her life in ways she never could have imagined when she ran from her wedding all those months ago. "I already know my choice," she said, closing her hand around the key. "My choice is you, Ethan. It has been since the day you found me in your pavilion." "Are you sure?" he asked, the vulnerability in his eyes touching her heart. "I don't want to rush you." "I'm sure," she affirmed, stepping into his arms. "But I'll keep the key anyway. Every woman needs a sanctuary of her own, even when she's found a sanctuary in someone else's heart." Ethan smiled, the full, genuine smile that still made her heart skip, and slipped the ring onto her finger. "Perfect," Maya agreed, kissing him under the stars. "Because true love isn't about possession. It's about freedom." And as Ethan held her close, Maya knew she had found both the freedom to be herself and the love that made that freedom meaningful. After all she had been through, she had discovered that sometimes the most unexpected sanctuary could become the most perfect home. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.